How is everybody doing today? This is L.A.Kendrick with another tale from the vault of Would You Dare. The first live that I've ever done with a live audience, it was amazing, it was incredible, and I thank everybody for stepping out and showing some love, because again, without you guys, stuff like this wouldn't be possible. And all we're doing is basically sharing with you guys, the ones that support the work, just sharing with you guys, giving you guys an opportunity to talk about and imagine and remember what it's like to be young, or as an adult when you're sitting back and you have nowhere to go, or you're just having thoughts about the supernatural, things along those lines, where you're actually able to express yourself or just think about stuff, right? And come to a spot and comment. So make sure you guys are commenting, okay? If I follow you on Facebook or whatever, YouTube, whatever, you know what? If you have something out there, I'm gonna comment, I'm gonna hit the like button, I'm gonna do something. If not, why am I there, right? I get a lot of you guys DMing me, we speak that way as far as comments, but you know, leave a comment here. Leave a comment at the bottom, okay? And you guys know how we do. We do everything here, we just find something on the internet and we just go with it. Great stories, and we go with it, whether it be factual or science fiction, whatever. We do extra-dimensional, ultra-dimensional, extraterrestrial, UFO, cryptid, paranormal, supernatural, demonic, serial killers. We do it all. We talk about everything here, right? Again, process it how you process it, take it with a grain of salt, or however you break it down. But again, don't you guys forget to also grab a copy of My Foes of God, man. I'm telling you, this book's a banger. It's doing its thing. And I want to send a special shout out to David Nelson, supporting the work. And I appreciate you, and anybody that supports the work, I'm definitely gonna give you a shout out if you leave your name like you've done and show me a screenshot. I'm definitely gonna give you a shout out, right? That's just how we do here. It's all about respect, and I'm big on respect. So, you know how we do. We do it raw and unedited to give you that organic feel, so it doesn't feel like it's being forced or being fabricated. And tomorrow I will have a video out. Well, sometime this week I have another fitness video out, because you guys seem to like that a lot too. Again, comment, you guys. It's okay, man. Just share some thoughts, express what you think could be better, or just think, or what you're thinking about that can improve what we're doing here. But we're going to talk about something today. It's pretty scary, pretty spooky, and as we say, the party don't start till you walk in, and now that you're here, let's begin. It's called the Wechuge. And the Wechuge is it's a man-eating creature or evil spirit appearing in the legends of the Athabascan people in Beaver Danza mythology. It is said to be a person who has been possessed or overwhelmed by the power of one of the ancient giant spirit animals, relating to becoming too strong. These giant animals were crafty, intelligent, powerful, and somehow retained their power despite being transformed into the normal sized animals of the present day. And the thing about this cannibalistic creature, they're described to be malevolent and half human, half animal. Sometimes they say they are being seen made of ice, or having wings, as said in the original Native American language. Now, what's weird about it is, again, they're very, very similar to the Wendigo, which we'll discuss further. But there was a young person here, Native American, and what they've done is they're sharing what they experienced. They say they actually went through a situation where they felt like this thing was attacking them or hunting them down. Now, I've never heard of the Wechuge. I've never heard of it. Again, just saw it, decided to give it a shot. But here's the story. A little background before I begin. I am Native American, and I've lived on a reservation my entire life. The rest, and they spell it R-E-S, is surrounded by a thick blanket of pine, but after the first few meters, it thins out. Normally the forest is bustling with hunters, trappers, and the occasional hiker. But the elders of the rest forbid anyone from staying in past dark. Of course, no one enforces this rule. It's just like a superstition. There are a lot of superstitions around the rest, but this one is most prominent. Now onto the story. It was a winter break of my senior year, and me and my friends had snuck out to do what teens do. Be too loud and drink enough ethanol, alcohol to clean out a full body paper cut, okay? It was me and my two buddies. For privacy, I'll refer to them as B and J. Me, Jay, and B were hanging out by an old rusty pickup that had been there since before we were born. It had broken down on the edge of the res and had been there ever since. We were having philosophical conversation about the passing of time, and since our adolescence was almost over and we soon would sprout out into responsibility, We were nearly polished off the bottle when out of nowhere, a squad car began to round the corner. Now, we were 18, which is 1 year away from being legal drinking age in Canada. So, naturally, we ran. Straight through the woods. I wasn't thinking about the warnings that had been drilled into me since childhood. I was thinking about what my dad would do to me if he found out what I was doing. Much respect to that pop. While I tried to keep track of my surroundings and not throw up at the same time, I had lost track of B and J. I stopped in a clearing and grabbed my knees to catch my breath. In between gasps, I let out an audible "damn it." While my eyes adjusted to the newfound darkness, I tried to look around and see where I was. All of a sudden, reality hit me. I was in the woods, in the dark, halfway to passing out, and based on my surroundings, I was also lost. I ran track in high school, and although I never got any medals, I was still pretty damn fast. Even in my intoxicated state, I knew I should have been able to run out of sight from the rest. Just as sobering reality set in, I heard something that made my nausea worse. From maybe 30 feet next to me, in the brush, I heard myself, but it wasn't myself. It was like as if I was talking through static. It repeated my words, "Damn it." It quickly said before the forest was met with complete silence. I stood shocked, and I thought it was one of my friends, but that thought was quickly extinguished when the thing repeated, "Damn it," exactly as it had before. I didn't think about running. I knew that if I did, this thing would chase me. At least that's what I thought. But what happened next was much worse. A large bunch began to shake violently, and all I could do was watch from my petrified state as the most disturbing thing I'd ever seen in my life stepped out of the brush. It stood nearly 9 feet tall. It was deathly thin, and it seemed to be rotting. Its body was covered in matted patches of fur, and its legs bent backwards like a goat's. When my eyes met its head, I nearly wet myself. Its head was similar to a deer skull, but instead of it flaming, it held flaming yellow eyes and teeth sharpened to a point. As the monster slowly lumbered toward me, I tried desperately to run, but my body remained frozen. I never understood how a person can be frozen in fear until that moment. This thing was only a few feet away. My life was flashing before my eyes, and tears dropped. For every tantalizing, slow step the beast took, suddenly a flash of white, and the monster was no longer in front of me. It took me a second to even realize the thing was gone. But when I did, I looked over to see where the thing had gone. It was lying on the ground, and on top of it was a pale man. At least I thought it was a man. But when I saw it, its ungodly pale skin, thin ribs, and stretched limbs, I knew better. The pale thing sat atop the first creature's chest and was clawing, kicking, and screaming. God, the screaming. I didn't notice until I saw the two of them fighting, but the pale creature was screaming an unholy sound that echoed through the woods. It only took maybe 4 seconds of the screaming before my motor skills came back to me, and my mind was screaming at me to run. It didn't matter where, just run away from the two abominations in front of me. I ran for 20 minutes straight without stopping until I came to the highway that led to the rest. And once I got there, I threw up onto the pavement. It took another 10 minutes to walk the rest, and the entire time I was terrified that those things would come back. When I got home, I realized I had lost my keys, so I banged on the door until my dad came to answer it. I must have looked like hell because the first question, he didn't punish me. Instead, he looked concerned and asked what had happened. But I was too tired, so I just passed out on the couch. When I woke up, I lied to him and told him some bogus story about a bear. There's been a lot, there's a bit of epilogue to the story. A few days later, I asked around, I had questions that need to be answered. I asked about who I should talk to for spiritual guidance. Everywhere I went, I was pointed to one lady, an elder, in the center of town. I came to her, and we spoke in the living room. I asked about the things I saw. And this is what she said. She told me of the Wendigo and the Wechuge, two spirits similar in nature. The Wendigo is a creature that can take over your body. When cannibalism occurs, it would turn you into a ferocious creature that craves nothing more than raw flesh. The Wendigo skin is resilient, and they can mimic voices almost perfectly. But they are ruthless and cunning. A Wendigo would do anything to get his prey except compromise its hidden nature. A Wechuge is a spirit of vengeance. When a weak person becomes strong and uses this strength to pick on the weak, it becomes susceptible to the Wechuge. This will turn them into deer-skulled, goat-legged creatures who live for humiliation. They look to kill people in humiliating ways, like mocking them with their staticky voices or using their claws to mark the body. Wechuge have weak skin but heal quickly. They will always eat a portion of the victim as a sign of dominance, but their host can still be persuaded. That's weird wording. When a Wendigo takes over, it can control the victim and hold. But if a Wechuge takes over, the host can still be reasoned with, though it's not likely they'll listen. When the elder was finished telling me this, I asked, which one do you think won? And she told me this: both are fast, strong, and cunning, but the Wendigo is more so. A Wechuge's wrath is no match for the hunger of a Wendigo. And that is the end of that story. And it was as of September 28, 2022. That's pretty intense, man. You get a lot of stories like this, especially coming out of the Pacific Northwest and up there near Canada. As a matter of fact, they are blaming a lot of stuff on creatures that are cryptid and we don't know anything about. So there's another guy that I saw had done an article, and he's speaking about how he was attacked and drug off by one of these things. Is there any truth to it? I don't know. I'm just pulling something off the internet and I'm going with it and giving you guys some spooky stuff. As you can see, I always try to keep the background dimly lit to set the mood. And I'm telling you, to me, this is fun and this is great because, again, these are the things that I write about. So you guys, if you've ever been out in the woods, or if you're ever out in the woods, because there's some woods right over next to where I'm at over here, a bunch of homeless people over there, but you know, they don't stay long. They stay for a minute, then they're gone. And like I say, that wooded area over there is kind of weird, but for the most part, everything is all good. Stories like these always fascinate me. They always have, and they always will. Again, I just try to keep my imagination open because I don't know. I don't know what's out there. It's a huge world, and it's weird, and we live in it, and the universe is even bigger. So imagine the things that we don't know. But ask yourself a question: would you dare want to be caught out there in a situation like that, drinking, partying with your friends? All of a sudden you get separated because whatever, and now you're face down with not one, but two, a Wendigo and a Wechuge. Something to think about, man. And you know how we do in closing. Make sure you guys like, share, comment, and subscribe to the work. It's okay, man, just to say what you think. It's, again, I appreciate all comments. I mean, the stupid ones, and when I say stupid, I mean being insulting. That's what I mean. I don't mean stupid as in whatever. I mean stupid as you being directly insulting and, whatever. Make sure that you guys grab a copy of my novel, The Foes of God. It's 6 years in the making, and I'm sorry that it didn't launch when I was supposed to launch it, but again, you guys, all the work, all the money that goes into these books, go right back into producing more books and more stories for you guys, okay? I'm looking at the big picture here. So, with that being said, let me get up out of here. Remember, check all the dark recesses of your home. Check the dark closets. If you happen to work late at night or into the wee hours of the morning, make sure you check your car. You check underneath, you check inside. Be mindful of your surroundings, because you never know if a Wechuge is lurking in the dark, waiting to make you a story. And this has been L.A.Kendrick. And until next time, you guys fill in the rest.